They lack the receptor for the color green and see only in blues and reds. The first dogs on Earth appeared about 40 million years ago on the plains of North America. The only trace of these early dogs is in the form of fossils embedded in rock. Paleontologists use fine drills and picks to unlock the secrets of these ancient canines. Dawn dogs, the earliest dogs, had long muzzles and low-slung bodies. Researchers believed they may sometimes have climbed trees in search of food. Dawn dogs had a primitive form of carnassial scissor teeth for shearing off chunks of meat from a carcass. By evolving into different shapes and species, the canids eventually colonized the world. A creature resembling dawn dog still lives in Eurasia. It's called the raccoon dog. Raccoon dogs live in pairs and produce one of the largest litters of any wild dog, up to 12 pups. The male helps rear them. Among their unusual traits, raccoon dogs hibernate in winter. At 5 weeks, the pups are already independent of their mother's milk and go out, searching for insects and berries to eat. The raccoon dog is an Asian species and much larger than dawn dog ever was. So how did something like dawn dog produce the varied breeds and species we call dogs? Across Siberia and Central Asia, evolving new forms for new habitats. From their original grassland habitat, they adapted to the frigid new territories of the north. The Arctic fox evolved small ears and fur-covered foot pads to reduce heat loss. It can survive temperatures down to -70 centigrade. Warmer weather brings the tantalizing prospect of birds. The Arctic fox loves fresh eggs. The snow geese make a big flap about it. The Arctic fox must be brave and also humble to survive in this bleak landscape. Winter comes quickly. As other foods become scarce, a fox scavenges along the shoreline. It needs to get its body fat up to about 50% of its total weight to survive the long winter. It will consume almost anything edible, including crabs and sea urchins. This time it finds a dead shorebird, but it will eat even seaweed if necessary. It needs all the energy and insulation it can get. Humans have bred domestic dogs to work in extreme conditions. Dog and man depend on one another for survival. These Inuit working dogs are long-distance runners, cruising at a steady 16 kilometers per hour. They take in oxygen more than twice as fast as a top Olympic athlete. They're bred for trotting or a loping gait 1 foot on the ground at all times. Ideally, the whole team moves in synchrony, each pair a mirror image. Unlike other dogs, they don't sweat through their paws. It would just make them stick to the ice. They've got more red blood cells than humans have, and bigger hearts for keeping their muscles stoked with oxygen. Like the Arctic fox, they have woolly coats and fur on the underside of the feet to retain heat. In high summer on Canada's Baffin Island, the sun shines 24 hours a day. It's a good time for hunting, but the first day brings no success. For the hunter, it's time to take shelter and rest. The dogs get rest, but no shelter. With their thick coats, they can sleep comfortably, even on ice. On an average day like this, they will burn 4,500 calories each. And after a few days of poor hunting, everybody's ready for something to eat. But these dogs are tough and patient. As the canids spread across the continents, the secret of their success was the knack for finding the right shapes and behaviors to survive in difficult habitats. 5 million years ago, climates became drier and new deserts formed. The wild dogs venturing into these desolate habitats had to evolve new ways of coping with heat and competition. The rare and elusive Blandford's fox. It's one of the smallest of all wild dogs. It ekes out a meager living in barren areas, from Afghanistan throughout Arabia. In Africa, the Cape fox colonized sparse scrubland. It also evolved a smaller body size, suited to its diet of insects and small mammals. The female rears the pups, but the male stays near to ward off marauding predators. Including his cousin, the jackal. The Cape fox is smaller than the jackal, but a sincere display of aggression convinces the jackal to leave the pups alone. Another desert dweller is the fennec fox, which ranges from the Sahara up into Saudi Arabia. Its big ears are webbed with blood veins, which dilate and disperse body heat. The ears aren't vulnerable because there's hardly anybody else out here to fight with. For both wild and domestic dogs, the nose and tongue are the vital cooling system. When a dog pants, the air comes in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's a one-way system. Incoming dry air hits the wet skin surface and causes moisture to evaporate, a cooling process. The tongue is the dog's air conditioner. In bulldogs, breeding has shortened the skull and compacted the air passages, so there's not enough cooling capacity. Heat stroke is a constant danger. As they spread around the world, the natural evolution of dogs produced some ingenious designs. 3 million years ago, the Panamanian land bridge joined together the drifting continents and South America. Wild dogs quickly moved south and changed shape to suit their new habitats. They also found new prey. A guanaco makes its first appearance into the world. It's easy game for any predator. The herd must stay alert to protect it. In the windy peaks of Chile's Torres del Paine National Park, September is the spring birthing season for guanacos. The zorro, a kind of fox, also has a new family back at the den. It's one of 10 species of wild dog that have evolved in South America. A bird tries to distract the fox, but the fox ignores her and steals an egg. Like all foxes, the zorro loves a small rodent. This mother spends much of the day searching for food to bring back to her pups. She's an opportunist, hunting or scavenging for anything edible. Her pups wait among the rocks while she hunts. Another canid species, the culpeo, lives nearby, but it tends to stay higher up in the mountains. Partitioning the habitat is a way to avoid competition. Of all the fox-like species in South America, the strangest and most lovely is this creature, the maned wolf. It's sometimes called the fox on stilts. It tends to be skittish about people, and people are superstitious about them. Folklore holds that the maned wolf can kill a chicken with a glance. But life is seldom that easy. Maned wolves are actually endangered in Brazil, partly because farmers kill them as pests. But here, at the Santuario del Curaçao monastery, the monks actually nurture maned wolves. It's an old ritual, putting out scraps of food for hungry predators. The maned wolves are reluctant to get too close. They snatch up the food and scurry away. But in the monastery, they are safe. And no fox can resist a good thing forever. It comes closer and closer, and yet always keeps its distance. The Kimbers family from Oxford has also tried to bridge the tantalizing divide between humans and wild canids. They're waiting for the red fox that visits their garden every night. It's hard for us to resist reaching out to them. We feel a special bond with these wild canids. The red fox might seem like a perfect species for us to domesticate. It's intelligent and highly adaptable, and it already lives in our towns and cities. But domestication has never been that simple. Foxes are solitary animals, and it takes a pack psychology for a species to accept life in a human family. Food? Of course. Fellowship? Not tonight, thanks. Humans and wild canids have lived together longest in Africa. But even a relatively social animal like these jackals will not cross the divide. Jackals have lived side by side with humans for tens of thousands of years. Like us, they form monogamous pairs and small family groups. They're also opportunistic enough to follow us and scavenge our leftovers. But that's as close as they come. Domestication of canids apparently happened just once, somewhere in the northern hemisphere. Packs of wolves and packs of humans shared hunting grounds and quickly learned to profit from one another. Like humans, wolves are social hunters and have complex hierarchies within the group. Both species used these traits to hunt cooperatively and bring down large prey. A pack of wolves will sometimes chase a herd to flush out weaker animals. The wolves sometimes hunt in relays and will fan out to prevent their prey from escaping. After a few minutes, the wolves either give up or they quickly close in on their victim. They attack from all sides. Killing big game can be hazardous for the wolves, but the rewards are great. Around the carcass, the wolves communicate using complex vocal signals and body language. The social hierarchy dictates that dominant wolves eat first. Each wolf can eat more than 7 kilograms of meat at a sitting. Ancient humans and wolves met repeatedly over kills like this. Both were opportunists. Each stole food from the other. Early humans probably killed wolves as rivals and took home their pups.
We all find it difficult to live without lying. But why? What separates?
Ancient rock drawings depict early domestic dogs as hunters, used to search for prey, flush it out, and bring it to bay. Recent DNA evidence suggests that the two species began to cooperate 100,000 years ago. By 5,500 years ago, when this woman was buried together with her dog, the two species had forged a deep spiritual bond. And yet, even now, the dog's wild ancestor is still persecuted by hunters like this. Belarus is a traditional farming society, and people here regard wolves as a threat to their livestock. Wolves are the most widely distributed land mammal on Earth, inhabiting most of the northern hemisphere, although we have exterminated them from much of their old range. But here in Belarus, the wolves and our old fear of them persist. Before dawn, the wolf hunter prepares for a day's shoot. He gets a bounty fee for each pelt he brings back. After the hunter kills the wolf, he seeks out the victim's den. Even for a wolf hunter, the defenselessness and infantile features of the pups are hard to resist. He takes the pups back to the village, as humans have done so often in the past, to be adopted. The genetic blueprints for wolves and dogs differ by only about 1%. So it seems odd that we should be so close to one species and so hostile to the other. The family hand rears the pup on milk. A domestic dog knows the difference and slinks away from the wolf in fear. But by the time it's grown up, the wolf pup may not know the difference anymore. It will accept humans as its pack, much as some ancient wolf pups accepted domestication long ago. And from this small miracle, we get 450 wonderful breeds with their own individual shape, size, and personality. But what have the dogs themselves got, apart from the occasional pair of boots and a nice handkerchief? Well, let's put it this way. There are now only about 150,000 wolves left in the wild. But there are 9.6 million domestic dogs in the United Kingdom and 50 million in the United States. So, the wolf pup that settled in with a human family thousands of years ago made a brilliant career move. And so did we.
Next today, Steve and Terry Irwin will be searching for the only 4 species of lemurs left on Madagascar. It's the Crocodile Hunter after the break.